The media tried to create a shield around Ilhan Omar, claiming that simply quoting her own words was a form of violence. But watch what happens when Ben Shapiro steps in. Instead of playing into the emotion, he pulls up the actual receipts, dates, and transcripts that nobody on the left was prepared to answer. Check this out.
Congresswoman Ilhan Omar and her allies now using a new tactic against Donald Trump and the GOP. So after the president dinged the freshman rep in a tweet over her insensitive comments about 9/11, the freshman rep said that the mere criticism of her was akin to the incitement of violence. The media echo chamber, of course, was quick to highlight her concerns.
Nancy Pelosi is asking the U.S. Capitol Police to conduct a security assessment for Congresswoman Omar. The speaker is one of many Democrats now accusing the president of trying to incite violence against the first-term lawmaker.
Joining me now is Ben Shapiro, the Daily Wire's editor-in-chief and author of the brand-new book, The Right Side of History, which is fantastic. Ben, now, this isn't about free speech. This is about downplaying one of the darkest days in our nation's history. Your take.
That's, of course, true, and she has a long history of not taking terrorism particularly seriously. In 2013, she did an interview in Minnesota in which she joked about people taking Al-Qaeda and Hezbollah more seriously than they took America and England. And then in 2016, she wrote a letter in which she tried to have a judge be more lenient with people who tried to join ISIS, saying that, of course, these were people who only became violent because of American marginalization. And then in 2017, she wrote a column for Time magazine in which she suggested that America was rooted and founded on slavery and genocide. And in order for us not to look that in the face, instead, we focused on international terror. This is not someone who takes terrorism particularly seriously, so I am bewildered as to why quoting her would constitute some form of violation of her personage. It would be a violation of free speech or something nonsensical like that.
Ben, just so people know what we're talking about here, I want to play that soundbite that you're referencing where she talks about the way people say Al-Qaeda. Let's watch.
When I was in college, I took a terrorism class. Every time the professor said Al-Qaeda, he sort of like his shoulders went up, and
yeah, he's in command here.
Al-Qaeda, Hezbollah. You don't say America with an intensity. You don't say England with an intensity. You don't say the army with an intensity.
Well, and Ben, Pete Buttigieg, we talked about him earlier. He's the new star of the Democrat Party. He's edged out Beto O'Rourke, and now he's taken that spot in the spotlight. He talked today about the consequences of otherizing people like her. I thought you'd love this. Let's watch.
One of the worst things that's happening right now is otherizing people. And if we're wondering whether this has real-world consequences, look no further than what happened not long ago in New Zealand. And yes, by the way, the president demonizing Representative Omar is part of this. It's dangerous, and it's got to stop.
Otherizing, Ben.
Well, very odd, since Representative Omar has 3 times in the last 3 months been chided for openly anti-Semitic statements, and then the Democratic Party has defended her. I'm amused to watch as the Democratic Party suggests that criticism and quoting of Ilhan Omar amounts to violent incitement, where Representative Omar can say whatever Jew-hating thing she wants on a daily basis, and that is not incitement. Now, I agree, it's not incitement in either case, but to pretend that it is incitement when it's stuff you don't like, and it's not incitement when it's stuff that you do, seems pretty irresponsible at the mildest.
Ben, thank you so much.
And that is exactly how you completely dismantle a political narrative without ever needing to raise your voice. What we just witnessed wasn't just a standard political debate. It was a masterclass in using hard facts to counter emotional spin. Notice how Ben Shapiro didn't rely on personal insults or empty rhetoric. Instead, he just brought the receipts. He laid out a documented, year-by-year timeline of Representative Omar's own past public statements from 2013, right through 2017, to prove that her controversial comments weren't just a one-time slip of the tongue. It was a consistent, verifiable pattern of behavior on camera and in writing. But the most critical takeaway here is the blatant double standard that Shapiro highlighted right at the end of the clip. We watched mainstream politicians and media figures rush to declare that simply quoting a lawmaker's public words back to them is somehow dangerous incitement. Yet, as Shapiro pointed out, when that same lawmaker was formally rebuked multiple times by her own party for highly controversial statements, those exact same media outlets rushed to defend her, minimize it, and sweep it under the rug. You simply cannot have it both ways. You cannot label criticism as a literal threat only when it targets your side, while entirely protecting that exact same behavior from your political allies. That isn't a principled defense of public safety. It's just political insulation. And as viewers, when you strip away the media spin and look at the actual transcripts, the truth becomes impossible to ignore. I want to know what you guys think about this exchange. Did Shapiro handle this the right way? Or do you think the media's defense had some merit? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Smash that like button if you appreciate unfiltered breakdowns like this. And make sure to hit subscribe so you never miss our daily deep dives. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.